Hello again, everyone. It's good to see you. It must be Wednesday, and I've got a bit of a sciencey task for you today. And I'm really got my fingers crossed that it's a dry day today, because this involves getting outside, hopefully, if you can. Don't worry if it is a wet day. You can still do this, but you might choose to do it later on when maybe it's a bit drier, or even save it for another day if you choose to. But either way, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you're able to get outside and take part in what I've got for you today. Because what I'm going to ask you to do is to go for a little bit of a woodland walk. Now, if there's woodlands nearby you, if you live near the school, we're very lucky we've got the woodlands nearby us. If you don't live near the school, you might be able to go out for a family walk in the woodlands somewhere. But if that's not possible, don't worry, you can still take part in this activity, but you might just need to skip over the outdoor bit. Hopefully, you'll all be able to get out and enjoy it. Well, let me explain what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to go on a woodland walk with your grown-up, so that you can find out and identify some of the trees that you see. Gosh, that sounds hard, doesn't it? How on earth are we going to identify the trees that are out there? They've lost all their leaves, most of them, in the winter, because as you know, in the autumn, deciduous trees lose their leaves and they grow back in the spring. So how are we going to identify these trees? Well, I'm going to ask you to look out for buds. And the buds are the little bits on the branches and the twigs of the trees which will grow into new leaves in the spring. So I'm going to ask you to look at those branches, look at those twigs, and see if you can identify the tree from its buds. To do that, I'm going to give you a bit of help, and you're going to need to download a couple of resources. I'll show you exactly where you can find them, and I'll even provide the links to those resources in the description of this YouTube video to make it easier for you to download them. And then you can print them if you have a printer, or if not, when you go for your walk, your grown-up should hopefully be able to have them on their mobile device if they have one, so that you can look at that and compare the buds that you spot with the spotter sheet. So let me show you the first one. It looks a little bit like this. And this is a winter tree ID sheet that comes from the Woodland Trust, a very helpful organization. Here's the link. And as I say, I will be putting that in the YouTube description too. Have a look at what you can see on here. These are some different buds where leaves will grow on the trees in the springtime. Different buds for different trees. And I'm going to ask you to have a look and see if you can find these ones. Now, you won't find all of these in our woodlands around the school, and you won't find all of these in other woodlands either, because there's different trees grow in different areas. Now, you might be able to spot some of this nearby, the horse chestnut. Have a look out for that. You might be able to spot some of this. You should be able to spot ash trees. However, a lot of our ash trees in our local area have been cut down lately, and that's because there's a disease that's infecting ash trees and making them very poorly. And to stop the disease spreading too much between the trees, or to stop the trees becoming dangerous, they've had to cut a lot down. So a lot of our ash trees have been cut down. You might still find the twigs on the ground, and then you might still find some ash trees that haven't been cut down. But do keep a lookout for those. They have very interesting black buds on there. I'll also provide you with a link to this one. Here it is, another Twig ID sheet from the Woodland Trust. It's got some other ones on there that you'll be able to spot. There's our ash tree again. Sycamore, hopefully you should be able to definitely spot that one. You should definitely be able to spot hawthorn in the local area too. And if you're lucky, you might spot some of the others too. But those are ones that are definitely around. Oh, and dog rose. Those ones are definitely around our local area. So do keep an eye out for those. What you'll need to do is you need to look at the trees, look at the little twigs, look at the branches, look at the buds that are on there. You can touch them as long as you're careful and you're gentle. You can feel them. You can look really closely and then compare it to what's on your sheet. See what you can tick off and see which ones you can find. Now, as you're going into the woodlands, you do need to be very careful. You need to watch out for things that could cause slips and trips, of course, and anything that could fall. I'm sure you'll do that, and you'll be with your grown-up who'll keep you nice and safe as well. And if you are touching things in the woodlands, be very careful, because some of the branches can be a little bit spiky. One of the trees that we have in our woodland, on its twigs, has got spikes. So do keep a lookout for that and be very careful. And of course, you'll need to wash your hands when you come back because you've been touching things outside. But you know all of that, of course. So I hope you enjoy your woodland walk, but that's not all. So when you've finished your woodland walk and you're ready to carry on with what I've got for you today, or you can do this another day if you feel like you would like to, come back to this video at this point. You can either pause it here or just find the right point again, and then I'll explain what to do next. But I enjoy your woodland walk, and I'll see you back here again soon. Okay? See you in a bit. Right, I hope you enjoyed your woodland walk. Was it fun? Fingers crossed it was dry. I hope you found a lot of the buds and the trees that you were looking for on the sheet. Now, here's what I would like you to do next. This will be a fun activity, I hope. I'm going to provide you with something else, and I'll send the document out over Dojo, so you'll be able to have that. I'm going to share it with you now. You should receive something that looks a little bit like this one. I'll just zoom out so you can see the whole thing. It's got 4 of the woodland trees with their buds that you should hopefully have been able to find in our local woodlands. As I say, don't worry if you weren't able to do that. This is the bit that you'll be able to join in with if you haven't been able to do it. What I'd like you to do is use the spotter sheets that I directed you to earlier, and again, the links are in the description, and see if you can figure out which of these buds it is. And then I'd like you to sketch that bud in this box here. So sketch the twig, sketch the bud, colour it in accurately. You can look really, really carefully at each one. So here you can see this one. Can you find out which one it is on your spotter sheet and write the name of the tree in here next to where you've sketched it? And can you find out an interesting fact about that tree or about its bud? You might do a little search online to find out. This one is one of my particular favourites. You might have been able to spot it. This photo was taken in our meadow not that long ago. This is, well, I'm not going to tell you what it is because you've got to work it out from the spotter sheet. But this bud is very sticky to the touch, big and fat and brown and sticky. Maybe if you spotted this while you're out and about and you gave it a touch, you might realise that it's very sticky. This one is quite spiky. It's a bit sharp if you give it a touch. It's quite spiky. Can you work out which one it is from the sheet? Oh, and this one, I wonder if you can work out what this one is from the sheet. It's got branches and twigs that almost look like upturned hands with black claws on the end. They can look a bit creepy at night time. I wonder if you can work out which one this is with its upturned fingers with its black fingernails on the end. That's what the buds look like a bit. Hopefully you'll have spotted that one out there. Fingers crossed if there's any left. And when you've drawn them, as I say, and you've sketched them and you've coloured them in, write down the names of what you think they are, and then write down a little fact that you found out about that tree or about that bud. And then you can share your work with me via Dojo or via email, and I look forward to seeing what you've worked out. I hope you've enjoyed this today. As I say, fingers crossed you got outside and you were able to go and spot those buds and it was a dry day. And if not, maybe another day. Okay, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and see you soon. Bye-bye.